great defensive form this year, but Trent has been one of the best right backs in the world for the past 3 to 4, 5 years, whatever it's been now. Why can't he get a game for England ever?
Because he's not better than Reece. He's not better than the options defensively. As we said, Gareth Southgate's a defensive manager. He's going to prioritize the right back that can defend. If we're being honest, Reece James is a far better defensive right back than Trent James is. And going forward, he's not far off. So for me, he's an all-round better package.
I think it's more simplistic than that. I think it
probably is why he doesn't choose him, because he goes for players like Trippier and Walker as well.
But what I'm saying is because when you look at it, if you were to look, obviously Trent's not a great defender. But if you look at how Liverpool, when there was like proper six football, like last season before, season like when we won the league, is that you play Trent in a position where he doesn't hint, you don't highlight his weaknesses, right? So you go and focus, and he becomes your focal point of your team. That's when you get the best out of him. In an England team, this is what I'm saying. To go and try and create something like that, it takes too much time to go and develop that. So what happens? You go for even like a Trippier or another right back. It doesn't have to be James. It's not a conversation about what right back's better, because if you go and focus on their strengths, then that's going to shine through. Southgate's not going to go and do that because it takes too much time to go and do that. To go and just play players that, like you said.
I think with Reece James, though, he doesn't have to focus on his strengths, because his strengths bode well with the team already, and you'll start to see him use him a lot more in that right back position over Trippier and over Walker, because Walker, as we've seen, he's started to fade off over these past couple of years. He's losing a bit of pace. He's defensively looking a bit shaky. Players get past him, and he's not recovering as he used to. So I think that's probably the reason why. But as someone said earlier, like, Trent was never in the team. He's never going to see the minutes in the team, and he shouldn't. But Tomori, that's a load of rubbish, man. Tomori's, for me, the best centre-back in the England squad. He's just fresh off a league-winning season. It's just very clear that Southgate's clearly not watched him enough. Maybe he's not even sending scouts out there to watch him, because Tomori is literally the best all-round centre-back there. He's a ball player, and he's still starting Maguire. He's bringing players like Connor Cody and Tyrone Mings on.
Eric Dyer.
Eric Dyer.
No, I'm not hearing Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer's been class. He's been good for about a year. He's been good for about a solid year, so he's earned his spot.
Eric Dyer should not. Eric Dyer, realistically, is he much better than Connor Cody? No, he's just not. He's not.
No, but if they're good,
he's playing better. He's playing
better on form. He's playing better than majority of the English centre backs anyway. So
he deserves to be there. I was pushing a bit there because he mentioned all the other centre backs. But I think the Trent one, I agree with JJ. I think you have Trent doesn't start for England because England don't have a system like Liverpool. That's literally it. And I've said this before. I think a lot of people have said this. Trent isn't a right back in any other team other than the team that Klopp has created at Liverpool, because he's not a traditional right back. And most teams play with traditional right back, fullbacks, or traditional wing backs. And he's not that. So a lot of teams would either accommodate a system that allows him to make from the right, call it a right back, right wing back, whatever, or they move him to midfield. That's what would happen. So if he was to play for England, I could see him playing more as in a midfield three, as opposed to changing the whole system to accommodate. He's a special player, don't get it twisted, but to accommodate one player. So the Trent one, completely understand it. I think the issue is because the lineup has come out and he's gone with I think it's a very similar team, and Saka's been dropped. A lot of those players that have been called up recently are victims of the fact that England have been playing poorly. And Southgate needs to get some results and needs to get some good performances from the team that he's expecting to go into a tournament with. So let's say, for example, today, he played Trent, he played Tomori, he played Ivan Toney, because I know what I get from Kane. And maybe other players who want chances, Ward-Prowse, etc. You then go into the tournament, all the players that you're actually really going to probably start on the first game haven't won a game for England for 5 games. So he's actually chasing a result. So the team that he's going to go with has some form, and I think those players are a victim of it. But Tomori, he should have been called into the England side months before he was actually called up. So now he's chasing behind, trying to get a game.
Yeah, the Tomori situation is wrong. Now, I don't watch a lot of Serie A, but what I've seen a few performances, what I've read is that he's doing brilliantly, if that makes sense. And it's not my job to go and watch every England player at every club around the world. The fact that we've had I know that people have spoken in the past, Connor Cody could be partly in because of soft fact, great personality, keeps the group together. And those kind of things are important in squads. And if you research sports at any level, in any sport, that team environment is really key. So I get that there are soft facts that play into that. But at the same time, Tomori's probably a good guy as well. Probably fun to have. Probably, I bet he's, doesn't sit in a room by himself, isolated, not bringing the team together. For him to not be given any real minutes in an England shirt, I think it's a big, big mistake. Trent, though, I think it's really different. When I saw the news this morning, and it wasn't like, oh my God, Trent Alexander-Arnold's not been picked for England. I think there's a few people have already alluded to it. I think, Neeks, you've pulled on something that's been in my head all day. I mean, for a while now, that I do believe Trent, without not just Klopp, but Trent without Klopp's system working well, without those workhorse midfielders that are going to run in and protect his position for him. I don't want to say it's the beginning of the end. That's far too hyperbolic. But I don't believe we're looking at a player that over the next 2 to 3 years, people are going to be calling one of the best in his position in the world. He's still going to have one of the best crosses, still a good passer of the ball. But we've seen as soon as that midfield and that kind of structure at Liverpool slightly crumbles, gets a little crack in it, Trent Alexander-Arnold is exposed as one of the worst players consistently on the football pitch. So for England, I've seen so many articles today from top writers, and I think they're just sucking up to Liverpool fans. I think they're the way it's read is almost, I can't believe it. He never gets to play for England. This is a shame. This is a problem. This is unfair. It's like, well, have you seen him play even just recently? For me, there's something in this. And I think that when Klopp's system works and works well, and it has done for many years, all of Trent's positives, all of Trent's strong attributes shine. They shine so brightly, you can't see the flaws. But as soon as that becomes a little bit, and again, England don't play like Klopp. They don't play as well as Klopp's teams. He will be exposed time and time again in his England team. So I kind of feel like there's fake outrage today that Trent's not been picked.
Yeah, I think it's more like
kind of weird.
I think it's more pent up kind of issues from, like seasons gone and stuff where he hasn't been selected and he's been on top form, because when he's in that form and that type of mood, and how momentum is in football, you need to go and utilize that as much as possible. And the problem we've had with Southgate now is that every time he's a player's been on form, and he came out when he first got the job and said, players would get their positions based on kind of form and how they're performing. We've seen time and time again now it's started to change. So at first we saw all these young players coming in that were playing really well. Over time now, you're just seeing Maguire gets picked, Shaw gets picked. And if they're getting picked, then surely Trent needs to be getting picked, because over the last 5 seasons, you can say he's been miles better than them. So I think that's where... To be
fair, I think there is an element of us as fans have to, like with politicians, when they say something, don't believe it. When Southgate came in and was like, oh yeah, I'm going to pick people based on form. Why did we all believe that? Like, what's wrong with us?
You saw it very early on with because Chris Smalling was still at Man United when Southgate first came in, and he was left out the team. And he said it's all on form. He then went to Serie A and was performing brilliantly. But we knew the real reason why he was left out is because Smalling can't really play out from the back. Yeah. I think the reason that Trent's never been picked, irrespective of his Liverpool form, is I think Southgate, and I have been critical of Southgate, but he clearly hasn't got everything wrong, because he's got to a final and a semi-final. I think he looks at Trent and thinks, the way I play, Trent's defensive inabilities are going to be exposed. Therefore, I'm just not going to put him in the team. And I think that, for me, is why he's done that.